A Ugandan academic has been detained for referring to the president in a derogatory manner. University lecturer Stella Nyanzi was arrested last week in a case that's come to be seen as a key test of freedom of expression in Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni has been in power for more than 3 decades. Uganda is considered a Western ally, but critics say the government is becoming increasingly hostile to dissent. And Stella Nyanzi made a number of disparaging posts on social media attacking President Museveni and his wife. She was imprisoned for publishing posts like this one on her Facebook page, saying President Museveni is just another pair of buttocks. Her arrest caused a huge outrage on social media with the hashtags Free Stella Nyanzi and Pair of Buttocks trending in many African countries. Well, this human rights organization from the nation's capital, Kampala, says Women for Uganda and in solidarity with Stella. We can't continue to watch injustice happen. We must act now. And Stella Nyanzi has even gotten support from Germany. This tweet shows protesters near the Ugandan embassy here in Berlin. And we also saw Twitter users like this one saying that this is what happens if leaders overstay their time in office. Everyone's seen as a threat. All right, let's turn to women's rights activist Rosebell Kagumeri in Uganda. Rosebell, thanks so much for joining us. What exactly is she accused of?
Dr. Nyanzi was charged with under the act called the Computer Misuse Act for cyber harassment. And this is unique because the person supposedly she offended is the president, that she disturbed the quiet and the peace of the president without having any intention to communicate legitimately.
What's behind the criticism?
The criticism, if you see the hashtag like pair of buttocks was trending because it was contained in the charge sheet, often we should not forget that actually Dr. Nyanzi, on that day when she wrote that, she was responding to President Museveni, telling the country that he's not a servant of anybody. He was telling the whole country that if you think I'm working for you, you're mistaken. I am not your servant. And that's the matter that Stella was responding to on that day. So the issue that the president can't be held accountable because he's not your servant.
Is this the first time that something like this has happened in Uganda?
In terms of somebody being a social media critic and having that power and the power of language, and also for the first time, the first lady of Uganda in all these 30 years has generally stayed out of the storms like this, but she finds herself in the middle of these two. So it's not just about President Museveni, but Stella has been writing about nepotism and corruption from the first family.
All right. Now, is the country moving towards a more authoritarian style of government?
I would say so, because the longer I stay in power, it's not clear if President Museveni is going to change the constitution, because he's not supposed to run in 2021, and the country is holding on, wondering if he's going to come back. And we are not sure if after 31 years that he wants to extend. And that kind of environment, we had an election last year, which was very fraudulent, and we are not sure. And we are seeing, besides Stella, a journalist was kidnapped simply for writing a blog in support of Stella, and she's not alone. There's many threats that have been leveled against activists in town. So the environment is tense regarding anyone who actually freely expresses themselves, especially on the first family and the rule and the nepotism involved.
All right, Rosebell Kagumeri in Uganda, thank you so very much.